Hey, welcome to How to Write a Novel. A little bit of traffic today. I apologize for the shitty traffic. So, coming back down to earth. After last episode where I got all crazy and talked a bunch of wacky shit, I was thinking, let's bring it down a little. Let's talk about something a little more practical, a little more realistic. So, way back in the day, I used to, for it was 8 or 9 months, I lived with my cousin and I helped raise his daughter, who was 2 years old at the time. And it was pretty cool. I think I actually was kind of proud of us. We did a pretty good job, but ultimately not a realistic situation that my poor cousin could really raise this kid on his own. So his daughter went to move in with the grandparents and has lived with the grandparents ever since. So now that I'm back home for a visit, my cousin and his daughter also came by for a visit. So for the weekend, we all hung out. She's 14 now. And, there's a lot of talk about school and exams and the pressure of grades and failing classes. And I can't really criticize the grandparents too much because, hey, they've raised this kid, They basically took her in and she's their kid now. But they're real big on this, of the stress and the pressure of the school, and you gotta get the good marks in the school, and what are you gonna be when you grow up? What are you gonna go to school for after this? And And I really I just didn't put forward my own opinions at all. I'm whatever, man, I've been out of this loop for a long time. I'm only back for a visit, I'll be gone again soon. None of this has anything to do with me. But if it did, if I was still in the loop, if I could give my advice, my advice would be, don't give a fuck at all, Don't give a shit about school. Don't worry about your grades. And don't get into crazy debt to go to university. Don't do any of this. Fuck all of this. Because nobody ever said that to me when I was in high school. I was so stressed out about the whole future that was laid out before me. I just hated the whole idea. I always did good in school. I could have gone down this path. It wouldn't have been a problem. But I just hated it so much. And it was a really weird source, back in the 90s, where I learned about the sort of alternative path that's available. It was this cartoonist, this guy Joe Matt. He did a comic called Peep Show. And Joe Matt is a weird person to look to for inspiration because he did these autobiographical comics that were just about how he just lived in a boarding house and compulsively saved money and was kind of lonely and miserable and a weird porn addict and always pining for this old girlfriend of his. The whole thing was kind of depressing. But at the same time, he was the first example I ever saw of somebody who didn't go down the normal path. He had this weird alternative artist life, and I'm oh shit, you can do that. You might only be Joe Matt if you're lucky. If you're lucky, you might be as well known as Joe Matt. Probably you won't even make it that far, but it is possible. It is an option. And it's as soon as I realized that, it's whoa, that switch flipped in my mind of that's what's happening, man. That is absolutely what's happening. There is no chance that I'm going through with all this university bullshit. But it's not something I could just pitch to somebody else willy-nilly, I'm not just gonna... It would be irresponsible to just recommend that path to someone else. Because as I said last episode, I got kind of fucking pie in the sky and wild about it. But I do think that there is a sort of fundamental reality that I'm not exactly like other people. I'm not like most people. It seems like they're kind of comforted by the idea. They like the idea of, even though it requires a lot of money and a lot of debt, they like that post-secondary education is a path forward. It's a path to follow. I don't like that. I don't like having the path to follow. Other people, though, they like it so much, they'll spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to have the path to follow. They want the path. I desperately do not want the path. So that's one thing. If you're more the kind of person that I am, you probably don't really need, you just need the vaguest whiff of the idea that you don't need to go down this route and you won't go down it. It doesn't take any pushing. You just need the vaguest inkling that there's another way and you'll go take the other way. So it doesn't matter, there's no need for me to fucking push my agenda. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But also, it's like irresponsible advice because it is extremely hard. Everything's hard. I'm not saying it's not hard to go to university and to follow that path. That's very hard. But it's hard in a straight line. It's hard with an end point. Like, there's a clip I'm going to play at the end of this episode by the comedian Patrice ONeal that I love so much, where he's talking about the life of comedy and how there is no end game. There's no goal. Like, even if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, it's very hard to do, but it's also very clear. And that's why everyone's parents are happy when you announce that that's what you want to do. Everybody claps because that's a clear path. Whereas in his case, he's like, I'm going to be a comedian. Or in my case, I'm going to be a writer. Like, how do you even explain that to somebody? And the way Patrice put it, which I love so much, is it's like trying to explain a dream to somebody. They'll never get it. They'll never feel what you felt. They're never going to understand. And it's like, you can only believe in it yourself. You can only trust in yourself. That's it. And not only that, because there is no goal, because there is no end date, because there is no piece of paper that says, congratulations, you are an artist now, the same way that there is for conventional careers, you gotta trust in yourself and believe in yourself and believe in your own dream forever. Forever. From now till the day you die. It's just you. You've got to believe in it because no one else can. There's no way that they realistically can. It's just a lot of lip service if someone pretends to understand your dream, because that's just not how it works. So yeah, like, whereas with me, I feel like if somebody had told me when I was 14, hey man, fuck all this. Focus on something else. Don't worry about school. This is not your path forward. That would have been great advice. But I could never give that advice to somebody else because it might be the worst advice ever. It could ruin their whole life. Like, what if they don't go down that path, the prescribed kind of path of going to school, getting a normal job, having the whole normal life? Like, that really is what most people are kind of meant for. That's what they're built for. That's what they want to do. That's what they're supposed to do. Why send them down this wild path that could just be potential ludicrous failure? Because that's the other thing that I think is like important about the idea of going through this, whatever you call it, the artist's life, like, to me, the fact that I didn't go to school, I still could have gotten something out of school, I guess. They say, oh, the connections, people you meet, whatever. But just the debt alone, it's like, come on. I'm a huge fan of, kind of in a Joe Matt style, of just being sort of thrifty and good with money and not just buying a bunch of horse shit, because money is time. Like, to get that money, you've got to spend your time working. And if you spend your time working, you can't spend your time working on your art stuff. I mean, it's a simple equation, but it seems like it's real hard for people to get their head out of that vice of just buying shit all the time and just always spending money. And especially in North America, where everyone is very comfortable with being in debt. That's considered the normal state of affairs. Where it's kind of weird, like, I don't have any credit, positive or negative. That's a problem in its own way, but I don't have debt. And I mean, that's what's bizarre too. It's very hard to build up credit if you don't also, you need to get debt and pay it off. The whole system is just like, they just want to like loop you in and just like get you just trapped on the fucking treadmill of just like, you got debts, you got bills, you got shit that you want to buy and that you got to pay off, and now you got to work. But also, like, I really do feel like it just kind of will you'll just naturally fall one way or the other. Because there's even like that sort of thing of like, yeah, sure, try for your dreams, try for your goal, but have the backup plan. You always hear that. Hey, you want to be a pro wrestler? That's cool, but get a degree too. Make sure you have the backup plan. I don't believe at all in the backup plan. The backup plan can fuck off, you know? To me, the backup plan just becomes the plan. You know, you don't have your feet to the fire if you've got the backup plan. How much did you really believe in the primary plan if you've also got the backup plan? If you're just going to do the backup plan, just do the backup plan. Let that be your life, you know? And if that sounds like a crazy thing to say, if that sounds like bad advice, I mean, that's who you are. You're the guy who does the backup plan. You're not the guy who does the crazy plan. That's fine, but don't lie to yourself. Just be who you are. Go do the backup plan, you know? Because the whole idea of the backup plan is if the crazy artist plan doesn't work, you've got an out. You've got a way out. I don't want a way out. I don't ever want a way out. I'm not looking at it like that. It's not like I'm holding my breath, swimming underwater, just desperately hoping I get to an air pocket. That's not how it is. I don't care if I never make it. I don't care if I never succeed. I would rather fail for my whole life, but never stop trying, than to give up and do the backup plan. And it's weird to be this person, because it has been a very long time. Like, I do feel like it's different to give this advice now that I'm 39 than it would have been to say all this stuff when I'm 16. Because, like, now it has been a long time. It has been a long time I've been trying to walk this path, and I'm really not that close to being successful yet. You know, I'm starting to really believe in it. I'm starting to be able to see some kind of concrete success over the hill. Enough so that I started doing this podcast. You know, I feel confident enough about it that it's like, yeah, I want to chronicle this because I do feel like it's getting somewhere now. But that's still, it's not like, it's a thing of like, there's not a goal. It's not about the goal, it's about the process. What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of person do you want to be? And yeah, I would rather fail forever on the artist path than to succeed on the standard, normal, conventional life path. And yeah, like, now that I'm getting older, now that I'm like, it's weird to say because I don't feel like I'm old, but I guess middle-age-ish is coming up, whatever. And yeah, there's just no doubt, like, I will double down. I would do it again a million times. Like, I would never want that other life. So whether I succeed or fail at this, who gives a shit? It really doesn't matter. That's not the point. And I think if that is the point to you, if you're like, you know, I'd like to be an artist, but I'll give it 5 years and see if it works, or, you know, I'll have my backup plan. Just don't even bother. Just do the backup plan. It's fine. That's who you are. That's what you are. Just go do it. But yeah, it's certainly not easy to take this artist route, you know, this dream. You're just like, another thing Patrice ONeal said, it's like you're falling. You're just always falling, you know. You're just, that's how it feels. That's how it feels every day. But the uncertainty is the life. This is how it works. This is what it is. But not only is it tough just literally because of what you're actually trying to accomplish being tough, it is socially tough too. Like in the last episode, I mentioned how if my brother weren't such a, he's kind of a mess, you know, he's got mental problems, and it's like, it makes me look good by comparison, you know, I seem like the normal one. But if my brother was a successful guy with a job and a family, suddenly I would be the weirdo. I would be the loser of the family. Because what the fuck is this, you know, like, to all my friends and family, I mean, all my friends in Toronto have careers, they own places, you know, they got their shit together. To my parents, I mean, they've just, I'm sure, accepted a long time ago that I'm just like, well, whatever, that guy's gonna do whatever he's gonna do. they certainly don't expect it to work out. The only person who can see the whole picture, the only person who believes in this fucking dream is me. I'm the only one. And it's like weird in a sense, because like realistically, what are the chances it's going to work out? What are the chances that I'll write some book that is popular? What are the chances that I'll ever make a living doing this fucking dog shit? Very low. There's no reason for anyone else to believe in me. You know what? The impression other people have of me is just like, well, there's that weird artist guy, never really made it, never gonna make it. That's the reasonable expectation to have. And why is it that I don't have that? Like, if I felt that way, I guess I would bail out, right? I guess I'd go for a different life. I'd go for something more stable, more concrete, more easily measurable by standard, societal fucking standards. But the reason why I feel confident, the reason why I will just stick with this forever, the reason why I will just always continue down this path and never give up, is because I do believe I'm going to make it. I do believe this is going to work out. But even that's like the wrong way to put it, because I am still very aware that there's a giant chance that it won't work out. There's a giant chance I will never really make a living trying to do art. There's a giant chance no one will ever like anything that I do. But that's fine, because even if I get to my last day on Earth and I really haven't gotten any further than I am now, but I tried the whole time and I put everything I had into it and I never gave up, that's fine. That's success, So that's like, it's weird, because in a way this mindset is kind of like leading me to failure. Like, I probably shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't think this way. This idea is what is keeping me from having a stable life and having a conventionally successful life. But this is how I am, and this is how I think. And like, that's why I said at the start, like, this is coming down to earth, Like last episode, I was kind of in a fucking wacky mood, and it's like, let's talk about some big time crazy shit. Let's make some big sweeping statements. I don't feel like that today. Today I feel way more like, let's just talk about the reality of going to school and not going to school, and like, what path should you go down in life. And still, like, even just with my feet planted on the ground, just trying to talk about stuff in a non-metaphorical way, in just a very nuts and bolts kind of way, I still feel like I want to go down the artist path, and I don't care if I fail forever. Like, that's, even at the most baseline, that's how I feel. And I think that's how an artist should feel. I really do. I think if you have a backup plan, I think if you have a plan B, I think if you have doubts about this life, you shouldn't do it. You should not go down this path. Don't even bother. Don't even, Or do, I don't know, whatever, do whatever. I mean, the point of this podcast is not really to give advice. It's not really to try to prescribe any kind of path. It's just to explain, I guess. It's just, here's how I'm looking at things. Here's how I'm thinking of things. Hopefully that's helpful or useful in some way. And I guess that's it. So, I'm going to finish with a little clip by Patrice ONeal. And if you like this, I put together a compilation of like 2 hours worth of Patrice ONeal stuff. And a lot of it is about this topic. It's about his journey into becoming a comedian. And he was an extremely bizarre, even by comedian standards, like just so single-minded and so unusual, and just so did not follow anybody else's rules or go down anyone else's path, and it was just starting to work. He'd just gotten into his 40s, he was just starting to really make it work, and he died, and it's a real shame. But yeah, if you want to hear more from him, it's very inspirational to me. I'm talking about trying to be the lone gunman, where the reality is that it's like trying to be the lone gunman in prison. It's not going to work. You need to ally with people. You need to work with people. But how do you do that and still be true to yourself? You know, how do you do this? So the compilation I made, it's called Patrice ONeal Tremendous. Just look it up on YouTube. But here's a little clip. Rest in peace, Patrice. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you next time.
There's people out there that just think that this conversation is sickening because we're in show business.
We got good spots.
But my thing is, like, if I ever argue with a plumber about whatever, I go, I didn't listen. I compare my misery to my fucking self. I made the decisions that I made.
Right.
You decided to fucking be a plumber. That's what plumbers do. I don't compare my choices to your, because I'm not a square. This is why I respect what we do more than doctors or anything else, is because you can be a doctor if you decide to be.
True, yeah.
Like, there's just no leap of faith as a doctor. You just go, I'm going to school. That's why everybody's mother goes, yay, you're going to be a doctor. That's why my mother was like, Ma, at 22, she saw a boy become a man who still lived at the house, and my decision, my drum roll was comedian. And she went,
You know what it is? There's no finish line. Like
you still falling.
A lot of parents want the guarantee.
Like you said, a doctor.
Your kids to have
line.
a guarantee.
There's a line when all of a sudden they hand you paper after years of school and money and shit, and you step over that line and I'm a doctor. We're in this gray area of,
could end
like,
tomorrow.
What the fuck is it?
And we made the choice.
Right.
See, that's the thing is people they're complaining about, motherfucker, this shit ain't. This is what, sometimes my mother gets, I think I might get this deal and shit. And she goes, here's time for you to buckle down. I go, are you giving me fucking advice on my shit that I've done alone? You don't have a passport, Mom.
She's just...
You're not worldly. But I sit here and I listen to her be a mother.
A motherly
Which is why
advice.
women have kids,
motherly.
just to have somebody that's forced to listen to them.
Yeah.
But we have arguments now because I don't have to listen to my mother. I go, Ma, what the fuck are you talking about? Legitimately. Not Ma, what's going on? Like, Ma... Yes, have a seat. I could just feel you drifting away. Just sit down. Your feet are swelling up. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because this business is so lonely. Because no one believes in you. When you go, I'm going to be a comic, everyone goes, it's like, you ever try to tell somebody an actual dream? Man, I fell asleep last night, man. It was a unicorn with a gun, and he had on boots. That's what you should say when you say you would go to show business.
Yeah.
Alone.
To you, it was like fucking,
I used to fucking go outside, right? When you first start out, you can only get a gig every 2 months. Every 2 months. And I used to go outside and just go someplace pretending I was going to do comedy, so she didn't think that this was a fiasco.
Shit.
I'm telling you. So now it's like you at this point. It's a lonely game. That's what people. That's what my woman doesn't understand. She thinks I hate her. You don't understand, sweetie. My loneliness is so important to me. And don't try to help me not be lonely.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like anybody right now. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody. Yeah. I just want to be introverted Grinch. If somebody saw my holidays from Thanksgiving to now, it would be a sad scene in a movie that somebody would think they wrote. It's just,
But Patrice,
I wouldn't trade it in. No.